I opened the door, handed her the box with her hoodie in it, closed it without a word. That was it. The final transaction. You know, the kind where you just want to be done. Get it over with? No drama. Just gone. But rewind a bit. Before the box, before the slammed door, before she was even asking me to be there after he kicked her out. There's always a before, right? This one starts like any other dumb love story. You see a girl. She's hot. You're an idiot. Her name was Sarah. Met her at a bar, cliché, right? She was striking. The kind of girl who knew she turned heads and wasn't shy about it. I was immediately hooked, like a dumbass fish to shiny bait. A week later, she's practically living at my place. That's when she dropped the "I'm not the jealous type" line. Should have been a red flag the size of Texas, but I was too busy thinking I'd scored. Fast forward a year. We're serious. Whatever that means. That's when he kicks her out. Picture this. 2 a.m., hysterical phone call. He's crazy, John. He threw me out. I have nowhere to go. And then, the kicker. The line that should be on a goddamn t-shirt. But you'll be there for me, right? I always knew I could count on you. The audacity, right? The pure, unadulterated gall of it all. Looking back, the early days were a blur of dinners I paid for, always. Weekend getaways, planned and paid for by yours truly, and constant compliments about how different I was from other guys. Different how? I was willing to drop everything and shower her with attention and cash. What a catch, right? The signs were there, subtle at first. A raised eyebrow when the bill came. A slight pout if I suggested splitting it. I chalked it up to being a gentleman. Idiot. Then there was Mark. Just a friend from work, she'd say, batting her eyelashes. You don't need to be jealous. Honey, mark this, mark that. Lunches with Mark, drinks with Mark. Mark's just going through a tough time. He was always around, like a goddamn stray kid she'd taken in. I tried to be cool. Trusting. But something about him, it just felt off. The way he looked at her, the way she laughed a little too hard at his jokes. Then came the job offer. A real step up for me. But it meant moving. Sarah's career was just taking off here. You wouldn't want to hold me back, would you? She purred, looking at me with those damn eyes. So, I turned it down. For her. For us. My buddy Dave called me an idiot. Never put a woman before your career, John, he said. Should have listened. You're being paranoid, John, she'd say, whenever I brought up Mark. It's just male-female friendship. You're not going to be that guy, are you? The insecure, jealous boyfriend. And just like that, I was silenced. I didn't want to be that guy. So, I swallowed my gut feeling, pushed down my instincts, and tried to trust her. Big mistake. Every Friday, it was girls' night. Wine, gossip, the whole shebang. I used to think it was harmless. Now, I realize it was probably a strategy session. How to keep John happy? How much can we get away with? Is Mark still an option? I picture them sitting around, dissecting me like a goddamn frog in biology class. Laughing, strategizing, plotting. And me? I was buying pizza and watching sports, blissfully unaware. Her Instagram became an obsession. Every photo meticulously curated, every caption carefully crafted. Likes, comments, followers. It was all that seemed to matter. Our vacations weren't about us anymore. They were about the perfect photo op. I remember one time, I asked her to put her phone down during dinner. She looked at me like I'd asked her to cut off a limb. It's just a picture, John. Don't be so dramatic. I'm naturally frugal, always planning for the future. Sarah, not so much. You only live once, was her motto, usually uttered right before dropping a few hundred on shoes. She eventually convinced me that we should combine our finances for transparency and trust. Sounded good at the time. Now, I realize it was just a way for her to have access to my savings to buy more shoes. The breaking point, I gently suggested she cut back on the shopping. Boom. All hell broke loose. "You're trying to control me," she screamed. "I can't even breathe around you. You're stifling my creativity." I tried to explain I was just worried about our future, but it was useless. Any attempt to reason with her was met with histrionics and accusations. A no-win situation. Then came the work trip to Miami. A conference, she said. But the details were fuzzy. The itinerary vague. She was suddenly distant, glued to her phone, whispering in corners. My gut screamed. It felt like something was seriously wrong, but I told myself I was overreacting. She said I shouldn't be jealous. I kept repeating, like a goddamn mantra. She left her phone on the counter. Screen lit up. A text from Mark. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Miami is going to be fire." My blood ran cold. There it was. The undeniable proof. The confirmation of everything I'd tried to ignore, rationalize away. All those innocent lunches. The late night, work, calls, it all clicked into place. I confronted her the second she walked through the door. Phone in hand, the text message glaring. She didn't even try to deny it. Instead, the tears started flowing. "It's not what you think," she sobbed, before launching into a tirade about how I was never there for her, how I didn't appreciate her, how I pushed her into Mark's arms. It was my fault, apparently. I'd had enough. The lies, the manipulation, the blatant disrespect. "Get out," I said, my voice surprisingly calm. "Get out now." She packed her bags, screaming about how I'd regret this, how no one would ever love me like she did. As she stood at the door, she delivered the final blow. "Mark kicked me out. Can you believe that? After everything. You'll be there for me, right, John? Please." The first few days were a blur. Shock, disbelief, anger, the whole spectrum of emotions. I replayed every moment, searching for clues I'd missed, wondering how I could have been so blind. I spent a lot of time alone, just trying to process everything. Friends offered to take me out, but I just wanted to be left alone with my thoughts. Time to process what had happened. Dave finally dragged me out for a beer. I spilled the whole story, expecting sympathy. Instead, he just shook his head. "Dude, I told you. You were simping hard. She played you like a damn fiddle." Then came the red pill speech. "Women aren't what you think they are, John. They're wired differently. You gotta understand the game, or you'll always lose." Suddenly, things started making sense. Her constant need for validation, the friend zone, orbiters, the way she always positioned herself as the victim. The double standards I'd blindly accepted. It was like Neo seeing the Matrix for the first time. The scales fell from my eyes, and I saw the game for what it was. A game I'd been losing badly. Then came the financial reckoning. Half my savings gone, thanks to our joint account. The cost of breaking the lease. The realization that I'd sacrificed a potentially career-defining opportunity. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was a goddamn financial hemorrhage. I'd been so focused on making her happy, I'd neglected my own well-being. A rookie mistake. So, I doubled down on my career. Worked late. Networked like a maniac, and started saving every penny. The job offer I turned down? I called them back. They were impressed by my tenacity and hired me. It wasn't about revenge. It was about self-respect. About proving to myself that I was more than just a doormat. About building a life that didn't depend on anyone else. The urge to retaliate was strong, to expose her, to make her life miserable. But I knew that would just drag me down to her level. Instead, I focused on myself, on becoming the best version of myself, on building a life so fulfilling that she wouldn't even cross my mind. Dignity, not revenge, was my guiding principle. Word got around. Mutual friends started whispering. Apparently, Sarah and Mark's passionate affair imploded spectacularly within weeks. Surprise, surprise. She bounced from guy to guy, repeating the same patterns, leaving a trail of broken hearts and empty wallets in her wake. Turns out, I wasn't special. I was just the latest victim in a long line. Which brings me back to the hoodie. A small, insignificant object, yet loaded with so much baggage. Giving it back was the final act of severance. It wasn't about being petty. It was about reclaiming my space, my life, my sanity. It was about sending a clear message. I'm done. You have no power here anymore. Now, I see relationships differently. I recognize the red flags, the manipulation tactics, the subtle power plays. I understand the importance of self-respect, of prioritizing my own well-being, of not letting a woman define my worth. I'm not saying all women are like Sarah, but I'm definitely saying I'll never be that naive again. So, that's the story. I opened the door, handed her the hoodie, closed it. End of chapter. Did she ever understand the irony of asking me to be there for her? Probably not. And honestly, I stopped giving a fuck. Because, at the end of the day, at least I didn't get Mark pregnant.